If I could only think of how to cut you away, I wouldn't be so frightened or scared to be enlightened. It's kind of difficult to keep my mind on a day that I didn't really mind it. It's in my face, I'll find it. The fields of colors bleeding and it's so far from home. The thoughts keep coming forward, I wish I wasn't so bored. Does it really matter if I'm dying alone? I often try to fake it, what's in my face I'll take it.
I am the devil. I am the Lord Satan from the netherworld, ruler of the damned and eternal king of hell. Even I, the master of deceit, can only stomach so much bullshit from the mainstream media and indie grifters. That's why I tune in to Morning Extra with Uncle Warren, because he eliminates my competition, and also because I know I'm gonna see that motherfucker soon.
Deo, Deo.
Baby's got a burger and a shooter and that naked won't go down. Baby's got a burger and a shooter and that shit it won't go down. Corrosion to her thighs, erosion of her pride. Baby's got a shooter, baby's got corrosion now, corrosion now. Baby's got it.
Well, now, here we are again, up in this mug. Woo! Go Bulldogs! I don't know where that came from. I'm wearing my sexy 70s spy shirt, like I should have like some grease paint on it, like I'm gonna be a cat burglar. Because it's that time of year, the long sleeves, although I got them like 3/4 lengths this time. Before I shout out everybody this morning, I just want to answer a quick question here. Miss Jacqueline, as Willie likes to say, Miss Jacqueline on the chat line. She has a question. She said, ExtraBulla, is there a different band or artiste? I'm assuming you meant artiste, with the E at the end there, fancy pants, with each live stream. Well, as a matter of fact, kinda. So for this stream, it's Fappy Tweed you hear for the countdown. And we try to do different songs every day that we're doing this shit. And then Baby's Got a Booger, the actual theme song to the intro there, is by a band called Hamburger Hobos. And both those, Fappy Tweed and Hamburger Hobos are both out of North Mississippi. And that music is like from the early to mid 90s, closer to maybe the Hobos is a little bit later. But good friends of mine, the Hobos there, and friend of a friend is the Fappy Tweed guys. So, see, Frank be coming up in here with some truth. What's up, buddy? The best morning news show. Thank you. Maybe the only morning news show where a show that actually has news on it and not just yelling and screaming and, busting, blood veins on their heads. But yeah, and so ExtraBulla, that's a piece of candy, that's Hamburger Hobos. And then on the secret show, it just kind of varies. I've been doing it where it's like one band every week. So I try to give a little bit of variety, a little flavor, a little, if we're in New Orleans, we say a little Zatarans put on there. Put a little stuff in your gumbo. Yeah, so Frank's here. Good to see you, my friend. If you haven't been checking out Frank's channel recently, he's had a lot of good positive videos up to try to help people. No clout chasing, just straight up help. And he invited me on his show the other night. What was it? Tuesday night for election night. That was fun. So yeah, we're hoping to get a few more collaborations like that together. Dang, taking shots at other shows that focus more on their... I don't know what you're talking about, Frank. I'm just saying. I mean, I sometimes I see these shows and all I hear is nyam, 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 but then I'm not hearing anything. I'm like, okay, preaching to the choir. All right, sure. Well, how about some news? News. Oh, you can't watch it on your way to work like you used to? Well, you better suck it up, Buttercup. You better get another fucking job. Where are your priorities, son? I'm sorry. Let's get it. We got, that was Prop. What's up, Prop? Antoine. good to see you. Jacqueline, very nice to see you as well. Of course, we got Vera here. And Miguel, 5000, Quantum Computer Online, bloop, 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 bloop. Who else is in here? Chuck and Ed Heller. You know, you never see those two in the same room together. Shh. Or maybe you do. I don't know. Yeah, so that's everybody. Oh, Global Solidarity and Anonymous sneaking in. It's not that I like your show, but I'm here again. Okay. Look, man, if you got nothing better to do than to hang out with me, first off, I'm sorry. It's not my fault. Global Solidarity says, I have answers. Nobody hears me. No, you know, look, I'm not going to shit on anybody's content. I'm just saying that the election's over. All right. So Grifty McGrifty Pants, y'all can stop. Yeah, they stopped making money off of the election now. Now they're going to play on your fears and stuff like that and pass around the same people, the same guests over and over. Folks, we got to get outside the bubble. We got to talk to people outside the bubble. And unfortunately, this is a bubble too. But this is a very porous bubble, if you will. There are ways to get out of the bubble, and you can come back into the bubble, but then you can get out of the bubble and you can come back in. You know, we have easy exits, easy entrances. You know what I'm saying? Bingo, 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 bingo. So, yeah. So, and I've kind of taken a cue from Franco too, as far as like trying to do more informative type stuff. I mean, Secret Show, yeah, is fun. I enjoy doing it, and it's funny. When we get everybody involved, we talk about the sillies and stuff like that. It's a nice little, you know, little breather from the bullshit. You know, but the other stuff is trying to be a little bit more important. Like this show, we're trying to get you more news out. And with ExtraBulla Live, we're trying to, you know, bring on interesting people in this space that you may not know about. And if you do, maybe you want to learn a little bit more about them and talk to them. So, you know, we're not angels. We're just trying to do something that a lot of other people aren't doing, you know, and we definitely ain't making like bank on these things. This is a labor of love at this point. So, anyway, off the soapbox, it's Friday. I want to say this before I forget. Coming up Monday is Labor Day. I haven't got the people lined up that I needed to, but we're still going to do like a Labor Day, not really a special on Morning Extra, but we're going to talk a lot about like, I'm going to have some information for veterans who are trying to get their veterans benefits because the military tries to screw you out of those things. And so try to get as much pertinent information for our veterans. If they're homeless, you know, hopefully find some organizations that can help them you know, do the things they need to do. Need to try out some of those podcasts that are advertised in the bottom right hand corner. Yes, this right here. These are my peeps. These are good peeps. So you can, these are the shows. You can check them out on their various channels. Please do widen your horizons when it comes to what I say, Labor Day. I meant Veterans Day. Yeah, Veterans Day. But yeah, check out these independent channels. You know, you get different perspectives, expand your horizons, increase your critical thinking. Yeah, I know, Global, but I'm one of these people that you know, I like to share. If I have some sort of audience at all, I like to tell them about the people that I like and the people that I think are trustworthy and you know, worth working with. So anyway, we have gotten way into the weeds. Sorry, we're gonna get out of this. Let's get to some actual newsy news. So, of course, oh, wait a minute. Before we do that, just want to remind you, Chanda put up a post on Facebook the other day. I think it was yesterday or day before. And she's continuing her chemo treatments. She seems to be in good spirits. That's great. But, of course, as we all know, medical care of any kind these days is extremely expensive. So she's got a GoFundMe. It's in the link below if you want to contribute to her. GoFundMe, that would be great if you can share out the link. If you ain't got the bread, that'll work too. So, Shannon, we're always thinking about you, because that's what we do around these parts. We think about other people. So, all right, well, let's get to the news. So, obviously, you guys know that Kamala Harris has conceded defeat to Donald Trump as U.S. House remains up for grabs. So this happened on Wednesday. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris conceded defeat to President-elect Donald Trump in a speech given at her alma mater, Howard University. This was on Wednesday, where she vowed to keep fighting and working towards ensuring a smooth transition at the White House. That's probably the best thing Biden and Harris are going to do as far as their term is concerned, is getting the fuck out smoothly. Good morning, Willie. Good to see you, my friend. So we must accept the results of this election. Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory, she said. I also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition, and that we will engage in a peaceful transfer of power, she continued. She's probably going to be drunk. I mean, she's still drunk, so she probably stays drunk. Her and Nancy up in there tossing them back. Harris also addressed disappointed supporters watching her speech, telling them, "It's okay to feel sad and disappointed, but please know it's going to be okay. Sometimes the fight takes a while, and that doesn't mean we won't win." Trump won the election with a convincing electoral college majority of 295 to Harris's 226, while his fellow Republicans also regained control of the Senate. However, on Thursday, control of the U.S. House of Representatives, as of yesterday, is still not yet clear for either Democrats or Republicans, so it seems likely that Republicans will maintain a majority, with the main question being the size of it. Giggity. So let's check out those House elections. Not that we really give a shit, because it doesn't really matter, but I guess some people are interested in this kind of stuff. So still in limbo today. Democrats were projected to win at least 208 House seats and Republicans 215. As of this morning, a party needs 218 in order to have the majority. All 435 seats in U.S. House of Representatives were on the ballot in 2024. I mean, they're always up for re-election. Senators, I think they have 6-year terms, but in the House of Representatives, they only have 2-year terms, and then you have to run for re-election. And whichever party wins control of the House will likely have a slim majority, making every seat crucial to a majority. The balance of power is likely to come down to the results in about 40 states, according to the Cook Political Report. House Democrats need to flip 4 Republican-held districts while also winning every seat they currently hold to retake the majority they lost in 2022. Republicans currently have a narrow majority in the House with 220 seats, while Democrats control 212. There are 3 vacancies. So according to CBS, the House control leans Republican, and it's probably going to be that way. More than a dozen key races have not yet been called, and several of them are considered toss-ups. Here's some of the key races to watch. Alaska's 1st, Arizona's 1st and 6th district, California's got several there, Colorado, their 3rd and 8th district, Iowa's 1st district, Maine's 2nd, and Nebraska's 2nd. Nevada's 3rd, Oregon's 5th and 6th, and Washington's 3rd district. So those are all still in play. And that's the thing. It's like with the Senate, you have 2 senators per state, right? Funny side note, I have a friend of mine who, a former friend of mine who ran for office, like political office, did not know each state had 2 senators. You know, kind of a civics basics right there. So, you know, So, but the House is different. It all depends on population of the states. And of course, you have these little gerrymandered districts that look like earthworms. They go, there's just like, what the fuck kind of shit is that? Uh, but, uh, but yeah, so it's probably going to be a little bit before those races get cleared up. Maybe we'll have more clarity next week. We'll see. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, who is the president-elect again, he's starting to pick his staff, and well, he's committing a little bit of a historical act here, and maybe in a good way, I guess. So Donald Trump picks Susie Wiles to be his chief of staff. There she is right there with the nice hairdo there, very nice. President-elect Donald Trump has tapped senior campaign advisor Susie Wiles as White House chief of staff, selecting one of his most trusted political confidants for the job. Wiles, who amassed outsized influence as one of Trump's two 2024 campaign managers, will be the first woman to ever hold the title of White House chief of staff. Isn't that crazy? We've had a female vice president, but we haven't had a female chief of staff. That's just, and people don't choose that. That's who the president chooses. So Susie Wiles just helped me. Was this Trump saying, Susie Wiles just helped me achieve one of the greatest political victories in American history. It was an integral part of both my 2016 and 2020 successful campaigns. Susie's tough, smart, innovative, and is universally admired and respected. Susie will continue to work tirelessly to make America great again. Everybody likes Susie. Everybody's talking about Susie. They all love Susie. Trump called it a well-deserved honor to have Wiles as the nation's first female chief of staff to the president. The position does not require Senate confirmation. A veteran of Florida politics, Wiles directed Trump's campaign to victory in the state in 2016. She also helped lead Ron DeSantis' 2018 campaign for Florida governor before a falling out that prompted the Florida governor to successfully lobby the 2020 Trump campaign to fire her in 2019. But her departure was brief. Wiles was brought back shortly thereafter to lead his campaign in Florida. After Trump hit a political low in 2021, roundly condemned for enabling the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol building, ceding the White House to President Joe Biden, he hired Wiles to help guide his unlikely comeback. So yeah, so that's her. You can probably read a little bit more there about more of her background and stuff. So Florida op, helped run some of Trump's campaign. Well, big leader in his campaign, and now she's going to be the chief of staff. So he surrounded himself with these people, although I think he's starting to distance himself from RFK Jr. Because RFK Jr. is starting to talk about the jibby jab, and and Trump's like, hey, wait a minute, I started that. Shut the fuck up! Shut up! And who knows what he's going to do with Elon Musk? I think that's all. It just seems like a circus. That's why this is all just theater, folks. It's all just theater. They bring these clowns out. They're like, look at this, shiny. Look at it, shiny. But it's not shiny. It's actually dull, much like our senses. So, switching overseas to the Middle East, of course, we're always talking about the Middle East. Israel considers attacking Iranian nuclear sites during U.S. transition. So while Sleepy Joe's sleepy, he's going, BB, his buddy BB over there is probably going to start some shit. Israel is considering hitting Iran's civilian nuclear facilities during the U.S. presidential transition period, according to Bloomberg. On Wednesday, the report cited an Israeli official familiar with the thinking inside the Israeli security cabinet, who said the handover period might provide Israel with a window to attack Iran's nuclear program. Realistically, Israel would likely need U.S. support if it wanted to do significant damage to Iranian nuclear facilities that are buried deep underground. A U.S. official speaking to Bloomberg ruled out the idea of President Biden ordering an attack on Iranian nuclear sites in cooperation with Israel, but the U.S. is vowing to defend Israel if Iran responds to recent Israeli airstrikes that hit Iranian territory. The fact that Israeli officials are discussing the idea of hitting Iran's nuclear sites signals that they're looking for another escalation with Iran before President-elect Donald Trump is inaugurated. During the last transition period in 2020, Israel carried out a covert attack inside Iran that killed Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, a nuclear scientist. And I believe that the 3 people who killed the nuclear scientist have been sentenced to death in Iran. They don't play. The Israeli official speaking to Bloomberg said Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu considered Iran's nuclear program an existential threat, although there's no evidence that Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has decided to build a nuclear weapon, something that's recently been affirmed by the CIA, if you believe those people. However, Israel's aggression in the region has prompted calls inside Iran to reconsider the nuclear doctrine. Khamenei issued a fatwa in 2003 prohibiting the development of nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction. And if you know anything about fatwas, you do not cross somebody that's put a fatwa on you, because they'll put a fat one on you, as in death. Iran is currently enriching some uranium at 60%, which is the highest level it has achieved, but still lower than the 90% needed for weapons-grade uranium. Israeli aggression led to Iran increasing uranium enrichment to 60% as it took the step in response to a sabotage attack on its Natanz nuclear facility in April 2021. Before that, Iran took the step to increase uranium enrichment to 20% in response to the Israeli assassination of that guy. The 2015 nuclear deal, known as the JCPOA, limited Iran's uranium enrichment to 3.67%, but Iran hasn't been bound by the limitations for years, since the Trump administration withdrew from the deal in 2018 at Israel's urging. So they want them to build a bomb. They were like, yeah, build a bomb, and then we can blow you up because you built a bomb. That's what it seems like to me. I don't know. I'm just some low-level jerk that does a YouTube show. So to celebrate a $5.2 billion deal for U.S. F-15 fighter jets, Israel bombs refugee camps. Woo! Because that's what they do. Yeah, fat what on you? Fat what? A fat what? The Israeli. I don't know, mate. I'm a little bit of a mood today, so I have to apologize. Plus, I got the sinus thing, and then the hot cold. You know the thing. You know how old people like to complain about shit. Wait a minute, let me get some of this this whiskey. I swear, if I had a cow and the cow didn't give milk but it gave whiskey instead, I would move heaven and earth to make sure that cow never died. That would be the Highlander cow. Moo. There can be only moo. The Israeli military yesterday bombarded refugee camps in northern and central Gaza hours after inking a $5.2 billion deal with the United States to acquire more than 24 F-15 fighter jets made by American aerospace giant Boeing. Boeing, who can't seem to make airplane doors work correctly. The agreement, part of a broader military aid package approved by the Biden administration and the U.S. Congress earlier this year, was finalized hours after Vice President Kamala Harris lost the 2024 election to Republican nominee Donald Trump following a campaign in which she resisted calls to support an arms embargo against Israel. Shocking, I know. Though Trump at times tried to posture as a pro-peace candidate during the race, he publicly and privately signaled support for Israel's war on Gaza and Lebanon, telling far-right Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu during a recent call, "Do what you have to do. Oh, and pick up a pizza too while you're at it. Okay, all right, I love pizza. Everybody's talking about pizza." Israel's Ministry of Defense called the F-15 deal a landmark transaction for fighter jets equipped with cutting-edge weapon systems. The ministry said deliveries of the aircraft will begin in 2031. Jesus. So the good news is you get F-15s. The bad news is you got to wait 7 years, bitches. So, hey, that would be like me saying, you know what, everybody in this chat, I'm going to give everybody in this chat $1 million. But I'm not going to give it to you till the year 2100. Okay, you're not going to get it till the year 2100. Just saying. But I'm going to give it to you. Okay. So while focusing on immediate needs for advanced weaponry and ammunition at unprecedented levels, we're simultaneously investing in long-term strategic capabilities, the ministry said. This F-15 squadron, alongside the 3rd F-35 squadron procured earlier this year, represents a historic enhancement of our air power and strategic reach, capabilities that proved crucial during the current war. Post it on your Facebook. I'm not posting nothing on my Facebook. Fuck that place. That place is evil. I'm amazed they're still letting me stream on Facebook. Seriously, that place is what the fuck. Nice people in there, though. Some of them. So shortly following the announcement, Israeli forces popped some champagne and killed at least 22 people in attacks on the Jabalia refugee camp and Beit Lahia in northern Gaza, where Israel is engaged in an active campaign of ethnic cleansing, and on the Nusrat refugee camp in the center of Palestinian territory. Because, hey, you got to spread it around, right? Norwegian Refugee Council Secretary General Jan Egeland, who traveled to areas of northern and central Gaza this week, said in a statement Thursday that the complete destruction he witnessed there was worse than anything I could imagine as a longtime aid worker. What I saw and heard in the north of Gaza was a population pushed beyond breaking point. Families torn apart, men and boys detained and separated from their loved ones, and families unable to even bury their dead. Some have gone days without food. Drinking water is nowhere to be found, and it is scene after scene of absolute despair. This is in no way a lawful response, a targeted operation of self-defense to dismantle armed groups or warfare consistent with humanitarian law, he added. What Israel is doing here with Western-supplied arms is rendering a densely populated area uninhabitable for almost 2 million civilians. And that's exactly what it is. More weapons, more aid, more genocide. That is what's happening. Yeah. That's my plan, Jacqueline. $1 million, but will be worth fuck all in 2100. Exactly. You might be able to get like a loaf of bread or something out of that. So that's not all. Our buddies in Israel decided that they're going after UNIFIL again. Deadly Israeli airstrike hits Lebanese army checkpoint and a UNIFIL convoy. Several civilians were killed, and a number of Lebanese army and UNIFIL troops were injured on the 7th, which is what, yesterday? No, Wednesday, in an Israeli airstrike on a convoy belonging to the interim force in the southern Lebanese city of Sidon, as it was passing through a military checkpoint. The Israeli enemy targeted a car while it was passing through the Awali checkpoint in Sidon, which led to the martyrdom of 3 citizens who were inside it, in addition to the injury of 3 soldiers from the checkpoint personnel and 4 members of the Malaysian unit working within UNIFIL. So it was Malaysian troops that got hurt. While the unit's vehicles were passing through the aforementioned checkpoint, the Lebanese army said. UNIFIL announced that 5 of its soldiers sustained minor injuries while in a convoy transporting recently arrived troops to Lebanon. The convoy was passing through Sidon when a drone attack occurred nearby. They were immediately treated by the Lebanese Red Cross and then continued on to their positions in southern Lebanon. Israel has reportedly targeted the Lebanese army and UNIFIL troops since expanding its assault on Lebanon in September. Several Lebanese soldiers have been killed since last month. UNIFIL spokesman Andrea Tenenti confirmed on October 18th that Israeli forces are deliberately targeting UN troops deployed on the border. So, I'm really curious as to what, Trump's going to do to make it worse. Because he's just going to make it worse. Come on. Seriously. So it will no longer be, buddy, can you spare a dime? It'll be, buddy, can you spare a few $1 million? Yeah. Or if you watched Arthur 2 on the Rocks, the movie poster said, pardon me, it had like a sign and it said, pardon me, sir, do you have $230 million you can spare? Sorry, that's an old school Dudley Moore reference. Desert Mantis, good morning. Good to see you, buddy. So of course, Hezbollah's got to get their licks in. Al-Qassam brigades kill injured Israel soldiers during attack in northern Gaza. Al-Qassam brigades, the military wing of Hamas, announced yesterday that its fighters have killed and injured Israeli soldiers near the Kamal Adwan hospital in northern Gaza, according to Turkish newspaper Anadolu Agency. Al-Qassam fighters detonated a thunderous device against an infantry Zionist force after it entered one of the buildings surrounding Kamal Adwan Hospital in the northern Gaza Strip, causing casualties, the group said. Earlier in the day, Israeli military data revealed that 10 soldiers were injured in Gaza and southern Lebanon over the past 24 hours. And now the body count in Gaza is up to 43,500 people, and thousands and thousands of people injured as well. Why do I keep doing this? What is going on here, folks? And now they're trying to destroy history. Literally, kinda. Israel strike destroys Ottoman-era building near Baalbek ruins. So I guess these are the Baalbek ruins back here in the background. An Israeli airstrike has destroyed an Ottoman-era building just a stone's throw from the UNESCO-listed temples of Baalbek in eastern Lebanon, the closest Israel has come yet to striking one of Lebanon's most treasured archaeological sites, Reuters said. Heaps of gray masonry and twisted metal lay yesterday next to a burnt-out bus just a few dozen meters from the World Heritage Site, a day after the attack, which was part of a wave of strikes that killed 40 people in and around the city. The Israeli military has told residents of the entire city to leave Baalbek in Lebanon's eastern Bekaa Valley, which houses one of the biggest and best preserved complexes of Greco-Roman and Phoenician temples in the Levant. The surrounding city has come under repeated attack from Israel, which says leaders of the Hezbollah movement shelter there. Of course, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Governor Bashir Koder told Reuters the destroyed building in the historic Manshia neighborhood just outside the ancient temple site was valuable in itself, dating to the Ottoman era. It's a very artisanal neighborhood, typically full of tourists. There was no one in that building. No damage was immediately visible to the temple complex, but it was too early to be conclusive, he said. The castle guards visually confirmed there was no damage, but we need experts, engineers, and archaeologists to come look. No one has been able to do so yet because of the strikes. Yeah, nobody wants to go in there and fix shit if you're just going to blow it up again. Maya Halabi of the Balak International Festival said that a total of 3 Ottoman-era sites had now been damaged by Israeli strikes in recent weeks, including the Gorud Barracks, the Palmyra Hotel, and the house destroyed on Wednesday. The Acropolis, where the temples are, is just a few meters away. They haven't been damaged yet, and we hope that won't happen, Halabi told Reuters. So, that's the thing. And this was part of the thing when the U.S. invaded Iraq, right, back in 2003? Was it 2000 or 2? Was it 3? Yeah, it's 3. Because of all the, there were people going in, raiding the museums, taking all this old, ancient stuff. Because if you're not a fan of history, Iraq is like that's right smack dab in the middle of Mesopotamia, right? The cradle of civilization. So there's all kinds of historical documents and stuff in there that have been taken, had been stolen. And some of it's been returned, but, probably never going to see the rest of it. And now they're destroying or getting close to destroying these UNESCO heritage sites too. It's just like, we're not going to protect anything. Everything is Hezbollah or everything is Hamas. So, we talk about the United States, how, who was it, Obama? He liked to bomb so much, he just ran out of bombs. And then Trump said, "Oh, hold my beer, or hold my soda since I don't drink." And bomb. Well, Israel said, "Well, hold my Manischewitz." Surpassing World War II figures, Israel dropped over 85,000 tons of bombs on Gaza. 85,000 tons. Yeah, I know this is like the European version of tons, but it's still the same. Israel's military has dropped over 85,000 tons of bombs on the Gaza Strip since October last year, exceeding the amount of explosives used in World War II, the Environmental Quality Authority has said in a statement issued to mark the UN International Day for Preventing the Exploitation of the Environment in War and Armed Conflict. What the fuck kind of name is that? an international day for all these fucking words. The Palestinian organization emphasized that the ongoing Israeli shelling of the Gaza Strip has led to the destruction of vast areas of agricultural land and the contamination of soil with toxic chemicals that will hinder farming for decades. And that's what they want. They want to salt the earth, as it were. The gravel in your driveway is historical. I'm sure it is. Is it a UNESCO heritage site, your driveway? I don't think it is. It might be. The organization pointed out that the quality surpasses what was used in World War II, the quantity, I should say, adding that the Israeli military employed a range of weapons and munitions, most notably white phosphorus, which is prohibited under international law by the United Nations Convention on Certain Conventional Weapons. These attacks have severely damaged environmental components, posing a grave threat to the health of humans and wildlife. I don't think there's humans left there, much less wildlife. The organization also indicated that damage to water infrastructure has resulted in polluted water leaking into groundwater reservoirs, foreshadowing a health and environmental catastrophe that threatens to endanger residents for generations to come. In late April, the Geneva-based Euromed Human Rights Monitor reported that it was estimated that Israel has dropped more than 70 tons of explosives on the Gaza Strip, in addition to its bulldozing operations resulting in the destruction of all buildings at a distance of up to 1 kilometer in the east and north of the Strip in order to create a so-called buffer zone. In September, Euromed reported that Israeli warplanes dropped 3 U.S.-made 2,000-pound Mk-84 bombs on a tented camp in the Al-Mawasi area of Khan Yunis at midnight as civilians were sleeping. Again, Hezbollah, right? Hamas, Hezbollah. According to a preliminary assessment published by the UN Environment Program in June, the environmental impacts of Israel's war on Gaza are unprecedented, with an estimated 39 million tons of debris having been generated by the conflict. That's right. Everybody forgets it's just all the rubble and stuff that's there. Miles and miles and miles of it. The preliminary assessment found that the war undoes recent, albeit limited, progress on Gaza's environmental management systems. This included the development of water desalination and wastewater treatment facilities, rapid growth in solar power, and investments in the restoration of the Wadi Gaza coastal wetland. Munitions containing heavy metals and explosive chemicals have been deployed in Gaza's densely populated areas, contaminating soil and water sources. This posed a risk to human health, which will persist long after the cessation of hostilities, with unexploded ordnance especially posing serious risks to children. 85,000 tons. If you do the math, that would be 170 million pounds, something like that. So they're trying to get Iraq in the mix. Speaking of Iraq, Iraq denies reports that Iran is planning to attack Israel from its territory. The Iraqi government on Wednesday denied reports that Iran is planning to launch a major attack against Israel from Iraqi territory, saying the rumors were false pretexts, meant to justify aggression against Iraq. Well, you think? They're accusing you of helping to attack them. So of course they want to attack you. They want to get everybody over there. Iraq's national interests demand distancing its land and airspace from the hostilities fueled by Israel's expansionist and aggressive policies toward nations and peoples in the region, Iraq's Council for National Security said, according to the Cradle. Iraqi Shia militias have launched drone attacks on Israel, but the reports coming from U.S. media say Iran has been planning something much more significant. Axios reported Wednesday that U.S. and Israeli officials claimed Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, has been moving drones and ballistic missiles to Shia militias in Iraq in preparation for a joint attack. The U.S. has reportedly warned Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani that if Iran launched an attack from Iraqi territory, the U.S. wouldn't stop Israel from striking Iraq. It's like, well, we're going to protect you, Israel, but Iraq, gun on your own there, buddy. Iranian officials have vowed they will respond to Israel's October 26 airstrikes. And you know all the story there. And the U.S. is vowing to defend Israel from any potential Iranian attack and deployed additional military assets, including the B-52 bombers we told you about. I think that was this week or last week, as a threat to Iran. So they trying. They say, Iraq, we know you're doing some shit over there. And that's the thing. There's two factions in Iraq. There's the government. The government's all like, we ain't doing shit. You know, we're good. We're good. Everybody's good, right? Yeah, you're good. You're good. I'm good. I don't know about you, but I'm good. I'm good. Meanwhile, the Iraqi militias are like, come on, motherfuckers. Daddy wants a taste. Just a little taste. I'm so hungry for revenge. Yeah. So those are the two factions. And Iraq, the government sooner or later is going to have to choose a side. And, well, that's going to be something else we're going to have to watch is Iraq to see what happens with them. So it's not bad enough that they bomb and blow up these people in Palestine. Now they're deporting relatives who are accused of helping. I don't know what this is. This is Israel passes a law to deport relatives of Palestinians accused of attacks. The Israeli parliament, the Knesset, has passed a law that allows the deportation of relatives of Palestinians who carry out attacks against Israelis, including those with Israeli citizenship. That's interesting. So if it's like Israeli on Israeli crime, then if you're a Palestinian Israeli, then gotta go. According to the new bill approved Wednesday, the Minister of the Interior can deport people for a period of up to 20 years to the besieged Gaza Strip or another location based on the, quote, circumstances, unquote. The relatives, including parents, siblings, children, or spouses, can be deported on the basis of expressing support or sympathy for the act of terrorism committed or for publishing praise, admiration, or encouragement, according to Haaretz. They can also be deported for failing to prevent the attack if they knew about it in advance. The legislation proposed by Hanak Milwidsky, a lawmaker of the ruling Likud party, was passed with 61 MPs in support and 41 opponents. So yeah, we're going to get you the fuck out. You may have heard about this story, though. In Amsterdam, this is some crazy shit. Israeli football fans clash with protesters in Amsterdam. And you think Amsterdam's pretty chill, right? You know, the weed capital. Everybody's having a good time? No, they ain't like that. I ain't like that. No, sir. Israeli football fans, that's soccer to you and me here in the States, or for those who, yeah, you know what I'm saying, have clashed with apparent pro-Palestinian protesters before and after a Europa League football match between their team, Maccabi Tel Aviv, and Ajax in Amsterdam. The clashes took place outside the Johan Cruyff Arena on Thursday night. That's last night. The city's main arena and Ajax Amsterdam's home stadium, as well as in other areas. Ajax won the match 5-0 after leading 3-0 at halftime. Man, I mean, and in soccer terms, that's a blowout. You guys suck. Reporting from Amsterdam, Al Jazeera's Step, guy's first name is Step Vaesen, said the clashes were the result of a buildup in tensions over a few days. He must be from Amsterdam. I don't know anybody named Step. Step Lively, Step Forward. Hundreds of supporters of Maccabi Tel Aviv came to Amsterdam, held a very vocal rally in the main square before the incident, waving Israeli flags, and also took down a Palestinian flag, she said. Thursday, police had said on social media that they were being particularly vigilant in the wake of politically charged incidents, including the tearing down of a Palestinian flag from a building. Social media videos captured the reported incident, showing Israeli fans shouting slogans while an individual was taking the flag down. Before the game, videos showed crowds of Maccabi supporters chanting anti-Arab slogans. The Israeli fans instigated the violence after arriving in the city and attacking Palestinian supporters before the match, an Amsterdam City Council member said. They began attacking houses of people in Amsterdam with Palestinian flags. So that's actually where the violence started. Councilman Jay-Z Veldhuizen told Al Jazeera on Friday today. As reaction, Amsterdammers, Amsterdam it, mobilized themselves and countered the attacks that started on Wednesday by the Maccabi hooligans. Not to be confused with the ExtraBulla hooligans, who are just top shelf. Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said 10 Israelis were injured. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office did not clarify what led to what it called a very violent incident against Israeli citizens. Shithead said in a Friday statement issued by his office that he views the horrifying incident with utmost gravity and demands that the Dutch government and security forces take vigorous and swift action against the rioters and ensure the safety of our citizens. Amsterdam resident and activist Mo Kotesh said Israeli fans attacked innocent people on the streets, property, and taxi drivers on Wednesday and took down a Palestinian flag. Kotesh of the Palestinian community in the Netherlands told Al Jazeera that they went to an area near the central dam square as instructed by the municipality to hold a peaceful demonstration on the day before the match. He said he saw locals trying to counter the violence started against them and their properties by Israeli fans. Israeli hooligans chanted songs swearing at Arabs, saying there are no schools in Gaza because there are no children left. Wow. Israeli political commentator Ori Goldberg said the incident showed that the Israeli narrative had taken over Europe. The fact that Israeli fans riot in the middle of Amsterdam, sing racist songs, and climb the walls of homes to tear down Palestinian flags is part of the Israeli condition at the moment. Well, fairly for a while, a complete detachment between actions and consequences. On Friday, Al Jazeera's Vason said the capital was calm. Yeah. So, and that's what's going to happen. These fuckers are going to like go around. They think that, because they can get away with anything, their government apparently can get away with anything, so that they can get away with anything because they're protected. But then Amsterdam said, you know what? What's the phrase that the kids say? Nah, fam, that ain't happening here. Even though we're kind of chill. Exactly, Vera. Their victim card has become the clown card. The Joker. So Canada, our friends up north here, faces legal action over complicity in Gaza genocide. Good. As well they should. Good morning, Kate. It's good to see you, dear. Hopefully you're having a wonderful Friday. A coalition of Canadian legal rights groups has launched a landmark lawsuit against the federal government, charging it with failing to prevent genocide in Gaza and violating its obligations under the 1948 Genocide Convention. The Coalition for Canadian Accountability in Gaza, which includes the Legal Center for Palestine, the International Center of Justice for Palestinians, and other legal advocates, alleges that Ottawa has failed to meet its legal obligations to prevent genocide and has violated the plaintiffs' rights under the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. The legal action has been filed in Ontario Superior Court. I need more whiskey. Ontario fucked me up. Damn you Canadians, you Canucks. Legal action has been filed in the Ontario Superior Court of Justice on behalf of two Palestinian Canadians who have suffered devastating losses in Gaza during Israel's year-long assault on the civilian population. The case centers on two plaintiffs, Hani El Banigi, who was trapped in Gaza during the initial bombardment in October and lost multiple family members to Israeli attacks, and Tamir Jarada, whose family suffered crushing losses when their apartment building in Gaza was destroyed by an Israeli airstrike, killing his father, sisters, uncle, aunt, nephews, and numerous extended family members. But they're Hamas, dude. They're Hamas. Come on. The lawsuit specifically challenges Canada's continued military exports to Israel and its failure to exercise influence over Israeli actions. The filing argues that the government has neglected to deploy available tools, including sanctions against Israeli leaders, preventing Canadian citizens from serving in the Israeli military, and curtailing Canadian charities' support for illegal acts in Israel. The plaintiffs are seeking a declaration that Canada has violated its duty to take all measures within its power to prevent genocide Additionally, they argue that the government's failure to act has violated their charter rights to security of the person and equal protection under the law without discrimination. The legal action also criticizes Canada's Gaza Special Measures temporary resident visa program, which has failed to provide adequate assistance to Palestinians fleeing the conflict, with both plaintiffs experiencing major obstacles in their attempts to secure safe passage for surviving family members to Canada. And as long as that fuckhead Trudeau's in charge, I mean, really, I don't really, at this point, you could just swap out like Western world leaders and they'll just be the same shitty people. They'll just look different. Teresa, good morning to you. How diddly do to you too. I meant to say hi to you the other day. I didn't see you pop in. I'm sorry about that on Wednesday. So this is me making up for it. So hello again, Teresa. I hope we're still pals. Meanwhile, in Brazil, a university has canceled lectures by Israeli professor after a student protest. So now Brazil is like, we are not having any of this shit either. Palestinian and Brazilian students have protested against a lecture by Israeli-Brazilian professor Michel German at the Federal University of Ceará in Brazil. That's UFC, not the fight thing. The lecture was canceled as a result. German is an associate professor at the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, and a researcher at the Center for Studies on Anti-Semitism at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. He describes himself as a left-wing Zionist. A left-wing Zionist, really? Is that a thing? And has shared videos on social media where he attempts to justify Zionist ideology, which underpins the ethnic cleansing of Palestine. A social media post shows pro-Palestine students interrupting the lecture on the university campus. They claim that the lecture supported the genocide of Palestinians, portrayed Israel as the victim, denied reality, and undermined the standards that public universities should uphold. Walking in an orderly fashion to the front of the lecture room, the students' chants expressed the solidarity of the youth of Latin America with the youth of Yemen and Palestine. The lecture was titled, "Between Barbarism and Messianism, Perspectives for the Day Ahead in the Current Crisis of the Palestinian-Israeli Conflict." Pro-Palestine students argued that it helped to promote the idea that one can criticize the Israeli genocide in Gaza while still advocating for the existence of the occupation state. They also claimed that it identified moderate Zionism as a political and ideological movement that defends the creation of a Jewish national state in Palestine and spread misinformation about legitimate Palestinian resistance against the occupation of Palestine. Palestine and our country, together we will win, Anti-Imperialist League, according to Fabio Gentile, the coordinator of the UFC's postgraduate program in sociology and one of the lecture's debaters. A group of students entered the room carrying pro-Palestine posters and an image of Yahya Sinwar shouting and calling for the lecture to end. He added, "Zionism is one of the worst and most bloodthirsty human creations. It is unacceptable that while Zionism is committing acts of genocide and barbarity in Palestine, the Federal University of Ceará is colluding with this lecture." Gentile pointed out that the protest follows more than a year of the Israeli genocide in the Gaza Strip. Protests at the UFC are among many pro-Palestine activities in Brazilian universities aimed at challenging any promotion of the apartheid regime in Israel. Palestine solidarity movements are growing stronger despite the presence of Zionist groups in Brazil. Pro-Palestine activists have succeeded in forcing the cancellation of events such as the Israeli University's festival, despite efforts by the pro-Israel lobby in Brazil to dehumanize and criminalize pro-Palestine solidarity. And that's good to hear. You know, you've seen it on college campuses here. Now you're starting to see it on college campuses around the world, at least in our neck of the woods here in the Western Hemisphere. Good morning, Bella. Good to see you. I hope everything is good with you and your brood, if you have a brood, or if you're just by yourself. Enjoy life. I hope everything's good. So France and Israel are starting to, the honeymoon might be over, folks. I don't know. Unacceptable, although this says unacceptable. Come on, guys. Who did this? Palestine Chronicle. That's all right, you guys. It's all right. We'll deal with the typo. Paris to summon Israeli ambassador over detention of French guards in Jerusalem. The French Foreign Ministry announced yesterday it will summon Israel's ambassador over the entry of armed Israeli soldiers to a French-owned church compound in occupied Jerusalem and the arrest of 2 French consulate gendarmes. Gendarmes? French media reported. That's an interesting word. The diplomatic standoff between the two countries reportedly led French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot to cancel his visit to the Eleona Church compound, describing the incident as unacceptable. An Agence France Presse reporter on site said that the Israeli police surrounded the 2 French gendarmes and pushed one of them to the ground. According to the AFP journalist, the gendarme identified himself while shouting, "Don't touch me," several times. He also said, "Not the face, not the face. I will not enter the Eleona domain today because Israeli security forces entered with weapons without prior French authorization, without agreeing to leave," the French foreign minister said on site. Barrot, who is currently on a visit to Israel and occupied Palestine, was supposed to visit the Eleona compound, which is one of 4 French-owned sites that constitute the French domain in occupied Jerusalem. Following the incident, the French foreign minister said that the violation at the Eleona compound was liable to weaken the ties that I came here to cultivate with Israel at a time when all of us need to help the region advance on the path towards peace, according to AFP. Barrot went on to stress that the domain has not only belonged to France for more than 150 years, but France also ensures its security and maintains it. Can we have a poll in chat? I guess so. Sure. We can have a poll if you want, Global. What kind of poll do you want? The integrity of the 4 domains that France is responsible for here in Jerusalem must be respected, he added. For his part, Israel's foreign ministry claimed that the security protocol for the visit had been clarified in advance. The latest incident is not the first between the two countries over France's historic properties in occupied Jerusalem. French President Emmanuel Macron, while on a visit to St. Anne Church in 2022, another site under French custodianship, angrily asked Israeli security officers to leave the basilica. Earlier in 1996, late French President Jacques Chirac, Black Jacques Chirac, was seen shouting at Israeli security officers and described their treatment as provocative. The recent incident comes amid strained relations between Israel and France following a series of events, most notably of which is Macron's call on October 5th for an arms ban on Israel amidst criticism of its military operations in Gaza. So, and the guards, these gendarmes or whatever the fuck they call them, they were briefly arrested, but because they were diplomats, it was like, oops, oopsie sauce. You guys can get out of here. Going back to footballers, the worldwide version, and speaking of France, this was fun. I know maybe some of you have seen this. Paris's Saint-Germain fans send powerful pro-Palestinian message. So this was they unfurled this giant banner. I mean, okay, look, see how tiny these people are? Look how big this fucking thing is. How'd they get it in there? Paris Saint-Germain fans exhibited on Wednesday pro-Palestinian banners during their match against Atletico Madrid in the UEFA Champions League at the Parc des Princes Stadium in Paris. The fans of the French club displayed a massive banner before the game reading Free Palestine. The iconic Jerusalem's Dome of the Rock took center stage in the massive tifo. Tifo? Really? While to its right stood a Palestinian figure draped in a red keffiyeh. The Palestinian and Lebanese flags bordered the banner reading Free Palestine in English. At the lower end of the banner, another powerful inscription in French read, "The battle is in the field, but peace in the whole world. In response to the move, French Interior Minister Bruno Retailleau said the banner was unacceptable and said he would seek clarification from Paris Saint-Germain without ruling out sanctions. The powerful message of the fans of the French football team comes as a stark reminder of the multiple assassinations the Israeli occupation army has carried out against athletes in Gaza since the onset of its genocide over a year ago. The Palestinian Football Association has said in July that nearly 100 Palestinian football players were killed since the start of the genocidal war by Israel. 2 of the players were on the Palestinian national team, including Mohammed Barakat, known as the Legend of Khan Yunis. Barakat was the first Palestinian to score over 100 goals professionally. So let's take a look at this again. So this is the big-ass thing right there. I mean, this thing is fucking huge. It is just amazing. And you love to see it. You love to see stuff like this. Although we do, arts and crafts is nice, but we need people in the streets too. In addition to stuff like this, not in, replacing it, but, Oh, you still have your Mercedes and private jet? Okay. Well, come pick me up. Let's have the weekend, right? Let's go have some funsies. So Spain said, no, we are not taking part in your bullshit anymore with this shit. Spain denies docking permission to Israel-bound U.S. cargo vessels. The Spanish government has denied docking permission to 2 cargo vessels bound from the U.S. and suspected of transporting weapons for Israel. On November 7th, that was Wednesday, a spokesman for the Spanish Foreign Ministry told El País that the Maersk Denver, which left New York on October 31st, and the Maersk Celatar, which left New York on November 4th, will not stop in Spain. Lawmaker Enrique Santiago had previously requested that the Attorney General adopt measures in view of the arrival of the 9th and 14th of this month of 2 cargo ships from the U.S. bound for Israel that are going to transit through the port of Algeciras, warning that their arrival would constitute a violation of the country's penal code. Giggity. Penal. In May, Madrid announced it would ban ships loaded with military material destined for Israel from docking in its ports. However, earlier this week, an investigation by Progressive International and the Palestinian Youth Movement revealed that at least 25 U.S. arms shipments headed for Israel between May and September of this year stopped at the port of Algeciras. We are studying the information with the ministries responsible for the control and entry of goods into the national territory to clarify what happened, a foreign ministry spokesperson told media in response to the investigation. If the information is confirmed, all necessary measures will be taken. The MFA has made and continues to make repeated appeals to tighten controls so as to ensure strict compliance with its decisions on this matter. Last week, Madrid canceled a contract to buy ammunition for its civil guard police force from an Israeli defense company. The Spanish government maintains the commitment not to sell weapons to the Israeli state since the armed conflict broke out in the territory of Gaza, although in this case it is an acquisition of ammunition. The Interior Ministry has initiated the administrative procedure to cancel the purchase, Spain's Interior Ministry announced. So good for them. Spain doing their part. But at the same time, they're still dealing with a bunch of deadly floods in Spain. So search for survivors continues in the wake of deadly floods. According to authorities, dozens are missing in the wake of flash floods in eastern Spain, which saw a year's worth of rain fall in a day in some parts of Valencia. We told you about that. It was just crazy. The weather this year, as far as like rain, has been unbelievable. All this flooding around the world. The Spanish Civil Guard has been searching the coastline, and the head of the unit says teams have been working from dawn till dusk. We are mainly carrying out maritime patrols that are being developed for the search and rescue of potential people who are related to this disastrous event, Luis Arrieta, Chief of Guardia Civil Maritime Services of Valencia, said. We are carrying out patrols along the entire coastline, mainly from the mouth of the Turia Canal to Cabo de Culera, even a little further south of the mouth of the Júcar River, Arrieta added. Spain's prime minister has deployed thousands of troops to the Valencia region. It comes amid growing anger from residents who accuse authorities of not doing enough in their response to the disaster. Many also insist that flood warnings came too late. More than 200 people are confirmed to have died in the floods, and the death toll is expected to rise, especially if they start looking for these people. They're gonna find more bodies for sure. So, Germany. What about Germany? Germany is a special place, and they do some good things. They do some bad things, and now they're in a bit of a internal kerfuffle, as you may have guessed. So, Germany's opposition says Olaf Scholz must hold immediate confidence vote. There he is right there. He kind of looks like I don't know, it looks like he's like a guy who sells you insurance or something. Germany's ruling three-party coalition has collapsed after Chancellor Olaf Scholz fired his finance minister, paving the way for an early election and triggering political chaos in Europe's largest economy. On Thursday, opposition conservatives urged Scholz to hold a vote for confidence immediately, enabling elections to be held in January, a day after he was sacked, after he sacked Finance Minister Christian Lindner of the Free Democrats Party. Scholz, who now leads a minority government with his Social Democrats and the Greens, had wanted to hold the confidence vote in January, which he would likely lose, triggering new elections by the end of March, 6 months ahead of elections originally scheduled for September. Friedrich Merz, the leader of the center-right Christian Democrats who are leading in nationwide polls, said this was too late and he wanted the vote to be held by the beginning of next week at the latest. Time is of the essence, Merz said. We simply cannot afford to have a government without a majority in Germany for several months now, followed by an election campaign for several more months, and then possibly several weeks of coalition negotiations. So this guy is like, no, fuck your January. We're going to do this shit next week. Scholz and Merz are scheduled to meet later. Were scheduled to meet later yesterday. The latter planning to urge the chancellor to speed up the confidence vote in the wake of Wednesday's chaos. Scholz had said he would ask Merz for support in passing the budget and boosting military spending because that's important. On Thursday, Scholz named Jörg Cookies. Cookie, what the fuck name is that? Oh, George Cookies? Sorry, I'm 13 years old, folks. A top official in the Chancellery and deputy finance minister to succeed Lindner, who was sacked after months of wrangling over budget policy and Germany's economic direction. Scholz said he fired Lindner for his obstructive behavior on budget disputes, accusing him of putting party before country and blocking legislation on spurious grounds, leading the FDP to quit the government. Too often he has engaged in small-minded party political tactics. He broke my confidence too many times, the chancellor said of Lindner. Now we must fight in the octagon. Two go in, one comes out. Who runs Bartertown? Master Blaster. Lindner said the chancellor had tried to strong-arm him into breaking a constitutionally enshrined spending limit known as the debt brake, a move that the fiscal hawk refused to support. Olaf Scholz refuses to recognize that our country needs a new economic model, Lindner told reporters. Olaf Scholz has shown he doesn't have the strength to give his country a new boost. That kind of sounds like Count Chocula a little bit. Lindner is expected to receive his letter of dismissal from President Frank-Walter Steinmeier at his residence in Berlin. Cookies is then expected. That name gives me. It's probably like cookies or cookies or something. Cookies or cookies. Cookies is then expected to receive his appointment certificate as a new finance minister. Yay, Germany with the cookies. But no government, but Germany still has a way to suck. German parliament approves controversial anti-Semitism resolution. The German parliament yesterday passed a controversial anti-Semitism resolution, which critics argue will stifle any criticism of Israel. Anadolu agency reports The non-binding motion titled Never Again is Now, Protecting, Preserving, and Strengthening Jewish Life in Germany. Or the subtitle was, My Bad Bro, Won't Happen Again. Was approved by votes in Parliament with support from the co-ruling Social Democrats and Greens, as well as opposition parties such as the Christian Democratic Union, the Liberal Free Democrats, and Alternative for Germany. That's a far-right group, I believe, the Alternative for Germany. Meanwhile, Sarah Wagenknecht, the Sarah Wagenknecht Alliance for Understanding and Justice, BSW, but there's not even a B in there. Wait a minute. Party voted against the resolution while the left party abstained. The movement, which condemns the country's increasing anti-Semitic incidents, states that Germany bears a special responsibility in the fight against anti-Semitism as a result of the Nazi-era Holocaust. It said, we must draw attention to anti-Semitism, warn against it, and stand loudly and visibly against it. The movement called on the German government to strengthen Jewish life in the country by keeping the memory of the Holocaust alive, supporting memorial sites, and encouraging educational activities. Furthermore, the resolution prohibits public funding for any organization or project that promotes anti-Semitism, questions Israel's right to exist. That's not anti-Semitism. Calls for a boycott of Israel. That's not anti-Semitism. Or actively supports the boycott, divestment, and sanctions, the BDS movement. None of that is anti-Semitism. According to the resolution, Israel has the right to defend itself against attacks that violate international law within the framework of international law. And it calls on the government to continue actively defending the existence of the State of Israel and its legitimate security interests as a fundamental principle of German foreign and security policy. Meanwhile, many civil society organizations and intellectuals, including prominent Jewish scholars, have criticized the movement, warning that it may violate fundamental rights such as free expression, free assembly, freedom of science, and artistic freedom. You don't say. Them trying to censor people. We're staying in Germany because, Oktoberfest never dies around here. Germany arrests U.S. national accused of spying for China. Ooh, we got us a spy, y'all. Germany has arrested a citizen of the United States suspected of offering intelligence on the U.S. military to China while working for U.S. forces in Germany, the Office of the Federal Prosecutor says, or the OFP. According to German prosecutors, the man identified only as Martin D. under German privacy law was arrested in Frankfurt yesterday. In a statement, prosecutors said he is accused of having declared himself ready to work as an agent for a foreign intelligence agency, and he had contacted Chinese officials in 2024 and offered to hand them sensitive information about the U.S. military. Turns out the information was, the U.S. military sucks. All right, that's all we got. They said the accused had worked for U.S. forces until recently. The investigation is being carried out in close coordination with German intelligence, prosecutors added. China and the U.S. have not yet responded to the news of the arrest. So, lots of doings in Germany and not so good. Yeah. Liana, by the way, fuck Israel. And CBC voter. Good to see y'all. Happy Friday to you too as well, CBC voter. So Putin's doubling down on his buddy China, saying, yeah, we boys. Putin says China is Russia's ally, backs its stance on Taiwan. Look at him. He's like, I have money in my jacket. I'm going to give everyone. You get the car. You get the car. You get the car. Russian President Vladimir Putin described China on Thursday as Russia's ally and threw his weight behind Beijing's claims over Taiwan while stating that no countries had anything to fear from deepening Sino-Russian cooperation, and Sino being the China part. The two countries have not declared a formal military alliance, but Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping signed a no-limits partnership deal in 2022, less than 3 weeks before Putin sent his troops into Ukraine. In May this year, they agreed to deepen what they called their comprehensive partnership and strategic cooperation for a new era. We do not believe that China is pursuing an aggressive policy in the region, Putin said at the Valday Discussion Club in the Russian Black Sea resort of Sochi. He suggested that Taiwan was trying to stir up a Ukraine-style crisis in Asia in order to attract outside support. I don't see the lie there. China views democratically governed Taiwan as its own territory despite strong objections by the government in Taipei and regularly holds war games near the island. A lot is going on around Taiwan, Putin said. Everyone formally acknowledges yes. Actually, his voice isn't that low. His is more like, a lot is going on around Taiwan. Everyone formally acknowledges, yes, Taiwan is part of China. But in reality, it is acting in a completely different direction, provoking the situation toward escalation. It's hard on the throat. We do support China, and because of this, we believe that China is conducting a completely reasonable policy. And also because it is our ally. We have a very large trade turnover. We cooperate in the security sector. Yeah, baby. There you go. You need a moderator in here. You're all moderators. What the fuck are you talking about? There's no laws here. What the fuck? A law and order. What the fuck are you thinking of? Taiwan's foreign ministry said China and Russia were the real problem. The regime of Russia's Putin launched a war of aggression against Ukraine, leading to misery for Ukraine's people and sanctions and condemnation from the international community, it said in a statement. China and Russia together continue to undermine the rule-based international order, or what we call the West's bullshit, and have become a serious threat to world peace and stability. Putin compared military drills between Russia and China to those the United States holds with Japan. These exercises do not threaten anyone, Putin said. They are aimed at ensuring our security. That's he said. That two can play at that game, darling. You need a super mod. There are such things as super mods. They're like managing mods, I think, so they can like actually, make people moderators and stuff like that. It's all right, man. You're in a safe place. Everything's groovy, baby. Don't worry about it. What else we got here? Still got more stuff. Oh shit, I didn't even set this up. I'm so stupid. There's this. What's the last one there? Okay, good. Wait a minute, no, that's not it. Okay, that's right. All right, so not content with fucking with Russia, now the EU is threatening one of Russia's neighbors. Georgia, sweet Georgia. Georgia must repeal recent legislation if it wants the backing of France, Germany, and Poland for its bloc membership. The leaders of France, Germany, and Poland have said they will oppose Georgia's accession to the EU unless it repeals recent legislation that conflicts with European values and principles. Now, when I hear values and principles, I immediately smell bullshit, because none of those words actually mean anything anymore. If the former Soviet state wishes to join the bloc, it must show commitment to reform by repealing recent legislation that runs counter to European values and principles. French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, and I don't have a Polish accent. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk announced in a joint statement yesterday. The three leaders also said they were deeply concerned by alleged numerous irregularities and voter intimidation during last month's parliamentary elections in Georgia and called for an investigation. The statement was issued on behalf of the Weimar Triangle, a regional grouping that consists of the three EU member states. Washington previously made similar warnings. There will be consequences for Tbilisi unless it changes its ways, including by withdrawing and repealing anti-democratic legislation. U.S. State Department spokesman and outgoing Muppet Matt Miller declared last week. The ruling Georgian Dream Party won a majority in the national parliament in the elections on October 26th. Opposition parties have refused to accept the result, while President Salome Zurabichvili claimed the victory had been stolen by the government and that the election itself was a Russian special operation. She failed to provide any evidence, of course, in support of her accusations when Georgian prosecutors requested that she submit it for investigation. So, yeah. If I was Georgia, I'd be like, oh, wait, they got this thing called BRICS. Maybe we should maybe look into that. Finally here, No, okay, we got two more in our news block here. So another hurricane, but good news. I think the U.S. is going to be spared this time. So Hurricane Raphael taking a turn away from the United States. They say, we fucked you up enough. Now we're going to go fuck up Mexico. Tropical activity will cut the United States a big break, with Hurricane Raphael taking a track that will spare the central Gulf region from flooding, rain, and damaging winds. Although the Mid-South there is going to get some weather anyway, but probably not from the hurricane. After becoming a major hurricane and making landfall in western Cuba on Wednesday evening, Raphael is now expected to avoid landfall in the U.S. This is according to AccuWeather. Raphael is beginning a more westward track that will take it away from the U.S., and the hurricane is forecast to lose wind intensity gradually this weekend. This will be the first hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico in 2024 that will not make landfall in the U.S. And this is where it's at right now. It's so big, you can't so here it just crossed over here, the western part of Cuba there, over Havana, and now here it is out in the middle of nowhere. So once it gets here, they're not quite sure where it's going to go. So it's going to move up here, and then it's going to do a little loop-de-loop, and then possibly head down here by next Wednesday. So, but that doesn't mean the southern states here aren't going to get a little taste of it. They're getting a little taste of it now, as a matter of fact. I mean, look at this. The whole nation here, this whole southeast covered in clouds, the Midwest, or part of the West, and some of the Midwest here. We had some nice weather here in Illinois, or at least in Chicago, rather. Yesterday it was very beautiful weather. Max Sarge, good to see you. Everybody pays for war crimes, and some are complicit. You are absolutely right. Finally, in our news block here, we thought last year was supposed to be the hottest year on record, and it was. And now it's looking like, looks like we're gonna have a new winner. Winner chicken dinner. 2024 virtually certain to be hottest year on record, EU Climate Agency. A day after U.S. voters elected climate-denying Republican Donald Trump in the presidential race, soon ushering in an administration that is sure to expand fossil fuel drilling. Well, I mean, the Biden administration did that shit too. The European Union's Earth Observation Agency announced that 2024 is virtually certain to be the hottest year on record and to hit a worrying temperature milestone. The year is expected to be the first on record in which the temperature is more than 1.5 degrees Celsius hotter than before the Industrial Revolution, according to the Copernicus Climate Change Service. The Paris Climate Agreement of 2015 urged countries to curb greenhouse gas emissions with the goal of limiting planetary heating to 1.5 degrees Celsius by the end of the century. Over the past 12 months, the CCCS said global temperatures were 1.6 degrees Celsius warmer than the yearly average from 1850 to 1900. The average temperature anomaly for the rest of 2024 would have to drop to almost zero for 2024 to not be the warmest year. Well, we still got, a month and a half? You never know. Last month was the second hottest October ever recorded, with temperatures 1.65 degrees Celsius higher than pre-industrial levels. It was the 15th month in the past 16 to be hotter than the 1.5 degrees Celsius over pre-industrial temperatures. While a single year above the 1.5 degree mark does not necessarily indicate that the Paris climate goal is out of reach, CCS Director Carlo Bontempo said the planet has never had to cope with a climate as warm as the current one. This inevitably pushes our ability to respond to extreme events and adapt to a warmer world to the absolute limit, he told The Guardian. Climate scientist Bill McGuire called the Copernicus report the bleakest news possible, especially with a climate denier U.S. president in office for the next 4 years. And then they go on to bash Trump. The CCCS, which based its analysis on billions of measurements from satellite, ships, aircraft, and weather stations, noted in its report that October saw numerous extreme weather events tied to the warming planet. Heavy rains led to severe flash flooding in Spain, as we told you about, killing more than 200 people. Above average participation was also seen in Norway and France, China, southern Brazil, and parts of Australia, while Florida faced Hurricane Milton just 2 weeks after Hurricane Helene killed more than 230 people. The World Meteorological Organization last week announced that carbon dioxide concentrations in the atmosphere are accumulating faster than at any other time in human history, rising more than 10% in the last 2 decades. The most effective solution to address the climate challenges is a global commitment on emissions, Buontempo told The Guardian. BBC journalist Navin Singh Khadka said on the news network that if the 1.5 degree breach continues in the long term, then we are warned there will be catastrophic consequences. In the meantime, we're told this could be a temporary overshoot because of factors like El Nino, for instance. But even then, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report has warned us that there might be some irreversible impacts. What are those irreversible impacts? Can we live with them? That's the question now. Hot, hot, hot. Me soul on fire. Me soul on fire. Feeling hot, hot, hot. Yeah, so hot, hot, hot. And probably going to get hotter, too. And because you want those temperatures high if you're going to have World War III, right? That's just right around the corner. So, you know, France, for all its the good that it does, it also does some bad shit too. As far as being a cuck to Israel and silencing voices in France that are pro-Palestinian, voices. So, the Propaganda Watch proudly presents more bullshit from our French pals.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
French court sentences pro-Palestine activist to 3 years in prison. A pro-Palestinian activist in France has been sentenced to 3 years in prison for allegedly glorifying terrorism on social media, according to broadcaster France 3. Amira Zaiter, an activist from Nice, I know it says Nice, but folks, that's French, it's Nice, was arrested on September 19th for allegedly promoting terrorism, glorifying crimes against humanity, and spreading hate speech online, as per the channel. My God! What did this person say? Zader, the founder of the Nice Gaza, from Nice to Gaza organization, was handed a 3-year prison sentence with 2 years suspended and 1 year served under an electronic bracelet. Zader organized the first pro-Palestinian protests in Nice in October last year, following the outset of the Israeli genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. In a post on the Twitter, she expressed, "I want to thank everyone who has supported me during this challenging time, who sent me letters, and who have been providing me with financial assistance. Above all, I am a mother and a nursing student." In another post, she shared a video of herself hugging her daughter, reflecting on how after 46 days of arbitrary and unjust detention for denouncing the genocide and expressing her support for Palestine in Nice, she was finally reunited with her daughter. In a related case, the Paris prosecutor's office requested an 8-month suspended prison sentence last month for another pro-Palestinian activist, Elias Mzalin. Elias was charged with alleged public provocation to hatred or violence after making comments during a rally in Paris where he mentioned the term intifada. He was arrested on September 24th for allegedly calling for an armed uprising at a September 8th demonstration. Yeah, so this shit's going to still continue, folks. That's what I'm saying. Voting, let's get in the streets. Let's shut this shit down. Come on. India is calling out Canada's hypocrisy towards freedom of speech. This guy, he goes, "Your penis is this big." Trust me, I know. India on Thursday claimed that Canada had blocked an Australian media outlet after it published remarks by Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar during an official visit to Australia. The minister spoke on the ongoing diplomatic row between New Delhi and Ottawa over the targeting of Sikh separatists in Canada. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Randir Jaswal, speaking to reporters in New Delhi, alleged that the social media handles and web pages of Australia Today, which he called an important diaspora outlet, were blocked for viewers in Canada just hours after it reported on a press conference involving Jai Shankar and his Australian counterpart, Penny Wong. The outlet published several articles on Jai Shankar's visit to Canberra, as well as an interview with him, he added. So we were surprised. It looks strange to us, but nonetheless, what I will say is that these actions highlight Canada's hypocrisy towards freedom of speech. He said tensions have grown between New Delhi and Ottawa over Canada's accusations of Indian government involvement in violence against Khalistani activists who want a separate nation state for Sikhs carved out of Indian territory. Canada is home to one of the largest Sikh diasporas, making it an important political force. India has consistently rejected these claims, insisting that Canada has never provided any evidence to support its allegations. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau first publicly accused India of being involved in the murder of prominent Khalistani leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar in September last year. This sparked a significant diplomatic another row between the two countries, which escalated last month when Ottawa accused Indian diplomats of being involved in violence against Sikh activists. Trudeau has said the Indian government made a fundamental error by allegedly supporting violence on Canadian soil. Apparently, he's never been to a Canadian bar. Both New Delhi and Ottawa went on to expel 6 diplomats, including high commissioners, in a tit-for-tat move. Giggity. There you go. Meanwhile, Australia is going to ban social media usage for children under 16. Not just one thing, social media. So they want these kids learning nothing. The Australian government announced yesterday what it described as world-leading legislation that would institute an age limit of 16 years for children to start using social media and hold platforms responsible for ensuring compliance. Social media is doing harm to our kids, and I'm calling time on it, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said. Social media is doing harm to our kids. The truth. I mean, the kids are getting the truth. See, that's the thing. They don't want these young kids learning the truth that early because then they'll be radicalized, and you can't control them. The legislation will be introduced in Parliament during its final 2 weeks in session this year, which began on November 18th. Which begins on November 18th. The age limit would take effect 12 months after the law is passed, so it would be next year, next November, when it takes effect. The platforms, including tweeters, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, would need to use that year to work out how to exclude Australian children younger than 16. I've spoken to thousands of parents, grandparents, aunties, and uncles. They, like me, are worried sick about the safety of our kids online. These are probably the parents, grandparents, aunties, and uncles like you who are just, treated like mushrooms, kept in the dark and fed bullshit. The proposal comes as governments around the world are wrestling with how to supervise young people's use of technologies like smartphones and social media. Social media platforms would be penalized for breaching the age limit, but underage children and their parents would not. So they would be punishing the social media outlet instead. Antigone Davis, head of safety at Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, said the company would respect any age limitations the government wants to introduce. However, what's missing is a deeper discussion on how we implement protections. Otherwise, we risk making ourselves feel better, like we have taken action, but teens and parents will not find themselves in a better place, Davis said in a statement. She added that stronger tools in app stores and operating systems for parents to control what apps their children can use would be a simple and effective solution. Kids are always going to get around that shit. Come on. That's like putting the parental block on the TV back in the 80s and 90s when they had the V chip. And people get around that shit. Come on. Tweeters did not immediately respond to a request for comment yesterday. TikTok declined to comment. Digital Industry Group Incorporated, an advocate for the digital industry in Australia, described the age limit as a 20th century response to 21st century challenges. Exactly. Rather than blocking access through bans, we need to take a balanced approach to create age-appropriate spaces, build digital literacy, and protect young people from online harm, DIGI Managing Director Sunita Bose said in a statement. More than 140 Australian and international academics with expertise in fields related to technology and child welfare signed an open letter to Albanese last month opposing a social media age limit as too blunt an instrument to address risks effectively. Jackie Halan, a director at the Youth Mental Health Service Reach Out, opposed the ban. She said 73% of young people across Australia accessing mental health support did so through social media. We're uncomfortable with the ban. We think young people are likely to circumvent a ban. Told you. And our concern is that it really drives the behavior underground. And then if things go wrong, young people are less likely to get support from parents and carers because they're worried about getting in trouble. Child psychologist Philip Tam said a minimum age of 12 or 13 would have been more enforceable. My real fear, honestly, is that the problem of social media will simply be driven underground. And yeah, and that's what's going to happen. They're going to just... Anytime you try to prohibit something, people are going to get around it. People ain't, I mean, you know, they may sound stupid, but they ain't really stupid. People, you know, they may not be book smart, but some of these motherfuckers are street smart, and they will know how to get around it. And if they don't know, they will find somebody that will help them do it. So I don't see that really happening. And if it does happen, it's probably not going to be for that long, and they'll just repeal it shortly after, I would assume. I found this particularly funny as part of our propaganda watch. The UK is having a normal one today. So UK newspaper offers free therapy to journalists after Trump win. This is UK. This is not even America. This is UK. Look at him like, oh, Bob Chumsley, I don't know what to do with my life. Oh, actually, these are Americans. Sorry. The Guardian has offered its journalists free counseling and mental health support to help them process Donald Trump's win in the U.S. election, according to an internal email seen by Guido Fawkes, a British political gossip blog. So these are journalists. These ain't just like regular ass people that are just triggered by Trump. These are journalists who are supposed to be professional, non-biased people. Wow. Written by editor-in-chief Catherine Viner, the email was sent to the Liberal paper's employees Wednesday. I know the result has been very upsetting for many colleagues. Viner wrote, our U.S. teams in particular have covered the election with brilliant reporting. They will be most directly affected by the result. If you're not in the U.S., do contact your American colleagues to offer your support. It's upsetting for many others too, she continued. If you want to talk about it, your manager and members of the leadership team are all available as the people team. There's also free access to free support services, which I've outlined at the end of the email. The Guardian's British staff were told that they can avail themselves of a 24/7 online general practitioner, mental health support, and virtual well-being tools. Staff in Australia were told that they can access confidential, impartial, professional counseling and support. Something tells Guido all the counseling in the world won't cure them of Trump derangement, says Syndrome, the gossip site. Joke. Yeah. So, and I don't know if I'm pretty sure you've been seeing all these, the liberal meltdown, the liberal tears videos and stuff, and everybody just going crazy. I know my buddy Lucy, their Blue Moon Red Wine, she's been doing like live streams, one right after another, just showing all the liberal tears. I love Lucy. She's the best. Exactly, Jacqueline. That's what I've been saying. Oh, Trump is terrible. People need to get a grip. Exactly. And that's the thing. But it's like, why are these people so triggered? Who triggered? It wasn't Trump himself. It was the people that talked to them. That the people they talked to, their friends, their family, the media that they watched told them that they should be scared. Right? They didn't have these fucking people around. They'd probably be like, Trump. Who cares? But, and like I said, that's just regular people. These are fucking journalists who need these, you need a hug. You need a hug. Holy fucking shit, man. So yeah, good times there. And I figured with all the absurdity in the news today, we might as well end the show with a little more absurdity ourselves. And who doesn't love a good story about a pig getting drunk? Pet pig breaks into garage, gets so drunk on owner's beer. Let's see if this does anything. So this is... Strawberry got into a case of assorted beers in the garage.
Oh my God.
Look at that shit. Oh my God.
Look how many.
They should play that music from
This is
Platoon.
gone. That's gone. That's gone. That's gone.
There's 2 more. There's 3 more back here.
Poor girl, she can't.
Strawberry.
There, oh,
Go back now.
What did
Look-
you do?
She never like really lets me come up and pet her, you know. But
that pig is like sauced. Oh, excuse me. I'm just gonna go here. No, not me. Oh shit! Where are my keys? I just what? Fuck off! I'm just gonna. He'll be pig sick in the morning. Squee!
Probably drunk too.
Whatever, what is that, a duck? That duck's like, dude, seriously, we're gonna get you to AA. That's enough of that silliness. Love seeing some drunk pigs. Couple who celebrated the 4th of July and forgot about the cases of beer in the garage were reminded where they stored the beverages after their pet pig had a party all to herself. Morgan Mullins, who lives in Gill, Colorado, and is the proud owner of Strawberry, a 7-year-old Juliana pig, whom she described to Newsweek as the love of our life. Her best friend is a duck, at least the duck thinks so, and she roams our small hobby farm doing what she pleases, Mullins continued. Recently, what pleased Strawberry was getting into the garage and breaking into the leftover cases of beer, causing Mullins to find the pet pig a little worse for wear. On September 6th, Mullins posted a video on her Mr. J. McGee TikTok account that has since gone viral, receiving more than 2 million views and 290,000 likes. Text overlaid on the clip said it all. Strawberry got into a case of assorted beers in the garage. She is so drunk. The video shows Mullins' partner surveying the empty beer boxes, splashes of beer all over the floor. You saw the shit. Just to add to the chaos. The thing I like is the duck. She enjoys going in and out of the house as she wants, but she mostly prefers outside. That's where the beer is. Adding that the video was recorded late at night and that they were alerted to the drama by the duck making a ruckus outside. The duck sold out the pig? Well, you know, pigs don't deserve any loyalty. So good on you, duck. Fuck that pig. When we went out, we found all the empty beer cans and then a very drunk Strawberry. So now the duck is the pig's AA sponsor. They've been going weekly to their various meetings that they go to. Free coffee and donuts in the back. Cowboy Kitty, what's up, Cowboy? Good to see you, bud. So yeah, I figured you needed a good pig story to round out the week after all the shittiness. Seriously, folks, if you are actually like concerned about this shit with Trump or Harris or whatever, or the elections, it ain't about the elections, y'all. It's about getting in the streets and doing direct actions, mutual aid, shutting shit down. That's the only way we're going to get things done, right? You're not going to vote your way out of it. You never will. Not under the system that's just totally 100% corrupt. So, Vera said, "Good to know. Never trust the ducks." Well, I mean, if you're a pig, you know, if you're a cop, don't trust the ducks. Otherwise, yeah, I'd probably be just I'd give him a little side-eyed. If you know, I don't trust ducks either. But yeah, that's the thing, and I'm gonna keep preaching this till the day I die. Get out in the streets. That's where you're going to find your real hope and real change, because it's not going to be in the voting booth. None of that shit. So anyway, that's the news. for today. I hope you got informed. That's our goal here. Speaking of informed, come join us tonight on Chicago Corner. Look who's back. We got Jerry and Ed and Kira and Oreo. And who's this asshole in the end? I'm in the mix too. So yeah, join us on Chicago Corner on YouTube tonight, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. West Coast time. We'll be talking about coping with the lessons of the 2024 election. What can we do about it? And of course, tomorrow night, you know what's up with this monkey. It is The Secret Show, Saturday night at midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. on the West Coast. Everybody who's seen the show has been scarred for life and wants nothing to do with me. So, and that's the whole goal of that show, is to drive as many people out of my life as possible. Go Start and Denver over there on Rumble and Rockfin in that order. Good to see you guys. Hopefully you're having the good start to your weekend, wherever you may be. So yeah, I guess that's it for today. Like I said, tonight, come join us 9:30 p.m. Eastern for Chicago Corner. It's going to be fun. I really missed that show. I miss those guys. It was one of my favorite shows. Good guys from Chicago talking about Chicago news, happenings and stuff. Took a little break for a while because yeah, the news is kind of depressing, and you really have to take a break from that sometimes. So the Ghost of Peanut, good to see you, buddy. Anyway, so just folks, just chill. Don't worry about this election shit. You knew it was going to be shitty no matter what. But we need to talk to people outside the bubbles. We need to talk to regular ass people and talk to them, not talk at them, make fun of them. Because you got to remember that a lot of these people are getting, or have been propagandized for decades. And so, you know, some of these people. But there are folks you can still reach. You know, if you tell them you love them and you care about them, maybe they'll listen to you. I don't know. But you know, fingers crossed. We got to do something to shut down this bullshit system. So I want to thank everybody. Like I said, we're on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, and Facebook. If you're lurking, good to see you. Or if you're watching this later, I appreciate you. The channel's growing. I appreciate all of you for that. I just want to give a special shout out to all you guys who has given me love and support on this show. Our numbers are, you know, our viewing numbers are going up a little bit, you know, gradually. So are our subscriptions. And I like that. I like that organic growth. I don't like some, you know, you do one thing, you have some sort of clickbaity title or something like that, and then you get like 1,000 followers or something like that. I don't like that shit. I like to grow it naturally, and because that's how you build a community. You bring in people that want to learn more, that want to know more about what's really going on, and you know, and we're all family around here. That's what's important. You know, we just take care of each other, look out for each other, because no justice, just us. So we are our own saviors. There are no what the hell's going on with this thing? Behave yourself. Nobody in politics is going to save you. None of that shit. So anyway, I think my lights are about to die. I'm going to get the fuck out of here. Have a great weekend. Come see me this weekend on The Secret Show. We'll have some funsies. Solid JJ cartoon and others. Oh, and there's this great video about Adam West and some of the shenanigans he did while he was Batman back in the 60s. Oh, scandalous. Bella, I appreciate it. And I love you as a viewer and as a fellow human being. And I do. And when I say I love you, I sincerely mean that. I may not like a lot of people, but I do love everybody. Hate has no place anywhere, because all hate does is destroy yourself. So don't hate. I mean, dislike, sure, but keep your priorities, you know, straight, right? What's most important? Taking care of yourself, taking care of your family and friends, hell, taking care of the world. This other stuff is just, you know, side shit. Guys, have a great weekend. I will see you when I see you, and just be good. We'll see you next time.
This is SETI Alpha 5! Woo! A damn good song, wasn't it, Dora? You like that song? All right.
Soon.